the magic that you shared with each other when you were on there?
Well, the thing that I remember most is when the game got close, we didn't have to say a whole lot because we had eye contact, and the eye contact told us a story about let's get this done, and let's do it together, and let's get it done the best way we can as fast as we can. I always remember looking at Bill in the eye and feeling a sense of security because we knew he was going to come up with a great play, and that spread throughout the whole team because he had that type of an effect on the team.
Okay.
Well, when I went to Pro Bowl, I always had one agenda: win. And I loved the guys that had the same attitude. And John had as good attitude as any player I ever heard of. Not only did I get a chance to play with him, but of all the players that I ever heard of, he had the best attitude. And so it was like a love affair because we both had the same intentions. And we didn't care who took the shot or who did this or who did that, as long as the team did it. And John was the most consistent player I ever played with. Mm. And so that's all ensured my agenda. And I used to thank all the players that I played with.
As many milestones that you've hit in your career where you knew that this game was a special game?
1969, against the Los Angeles Lakers, they had 10,000 balloons hanging from the ceiling. Russell said before the game, "They can't beat us." And everyone looked at him like, wow, that's a bold statement. But the thing is, we had a much quicker team, a much faster team. And I said to Russ at the time, get me the ball and I will push everyone up the floor offensively so they can stay with me, because if we walk it up, that's not to our best advantage. So my objective was to get the ball and move it up the court as fast as we could with the opportunities for fast break. He was always someone trailing the play, so it's nice to know that you got someone behind you who's going to take up for the mistake that you might make on the way.
Well, with that game, the reason I said the Lakers had no chance, and that's the way I said it, they don't have a chance. In fact, I think I said, if they played the best game that any team in the history of this franchise played, they would still lose. Because we had 5 or 6 Greyhounds, that's what I call them. And I was thinking, most of the time they tell you can't break, fast break in the playoff game. Well, the key to the fast break, defensive rebounding and outlet passing. And I was thinking at the time, I am the best that ever did that. Mm. So that's what I'm going to do today. And these guys, they just ran around the building.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
And when you look at it mathematically, you couldn't, if you could do that, they couldn't beat you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They had no chance. That's what I told these guys. And they thought I was crazy.
We were ahead by 13 at the half, I believe.
Yeah.
And you know, that gave us the impetus and the thought that, hey, we can blow these guys out. It did narrow down to a 2-point game, but you know, the ultimate thing is winning, which we did.
Well, incidentally, the last 2 baskets they got, we just let them have it.
Is that right?
The reason for it is, if we'd have stopped or fouled them, that would stop the clock.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
We didn't want to stop the clock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they actually ran out of time.
Wow. One particular opponent that you really had to be really account for. Well, one talent.
The thing is, you had a guy like Jerry West.
Okay.
He was going to get 30 one way or another. You didn't want to make him mad because then he might get 40 or 50.
Yeah.
So you tried to play him as best you could, as tough as you could, as we did Elgin Baylor. And of course in that 69 series, Bill was playing Wilt, and he always had a little antidote for Wilt that Wilt wasn't prepared for. So these are things that I remember.
You see, we had a offense. 3 different kinds. Fast break, half fast, that's what Rich said, and half court. And we could play those 3 different kinds of games anytime we wanted to. It was part of our system. It wasn't a new thing. So that night we used our fast break system, so that it was something that we were used to. And the key to winning playoff games, let them have all the surprises.
Mm.
And the thing is, we had an offense where we could interchange it. We could put the forwards in the guard position and the guard in the forward position, which allowed the defense to not be familiar or comfortable with where they were. And of course, if they tried to press us, people tried to break the press in different ways. The way we broke it was, he brought the ball up because Wilt couldn't guard him full court.
That's right. That's
so
right.
we had an answer for every little thing that they came up with in most cases.
What did you do to frustrate Wilt so much?
Stay on the court. I want to tell you something. He was very tall, very smart, and fast. But I had to show up. So I did.
You guys have remained friends for years. What is the basis of that friendship?
Well, one of the things about the Celtics at that time, we looked out for each other. Like when John first made the team, he had an apartment that didn't have anything in it. And I said, John, after practice, come with me, and I'll take you shopping. Because we took care of each other.
Wow.
And it ended up being on and off the court.
Mm-hmm.
It started on the court,
Yeah.
but it transcended that.
Wow. What a great
You
story.
see, the attitude of the Celtics were, especially for the rookies, this may be the first time they're really away from home,
Right.
with nobody there to take care of them. And everybody thinks that they're a big star, they'll be all right. But it's not like these are guys.
Mm-hmm.
These are men that, in a strange situation, they could use a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember the first thing you want as a rookie is you want a stereo system, you want a car, and that type of thing. And he took me around Boston for about 5 or 6 hours shopping for the right stereo setup. So I appreciate that. But the other thing that I remember, before hugging men was fashionable, he never greeted me with a handshake. He greeted me with a hug.
Wow.
And that showed me that there was a bond that we had that will remain forever.
Well, we could not have been as successful as we were unless we were friends.
Yeah.
Because the Celtic way was to look out for each other.
Mm.
And we did it on the court and off the court. And we were in Seattle one time for the Final Four. And we were leaving the game. And there was a cab in front of me. And I said, that's Havlicek in that cab. I recognized him from the back of his head.
Because he was rebounding and always looking ahead where I was going to take the ball up the floor, so he saw the back of my head a lot.
That's funny.
And you said, follow that car.
That's great.
don't think anyone is as tight as we were going to be because of free agency and that type of thing, and people have the freedom to move, and they really don't form those bonds and friendships
That's
the
the
way
same
we
with
were
the
able
NFL,
to,
yeah.
and that's something that will never be the same.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle, as a team, of George Mikan's dominating the league. Then we came, and now it's a different game even.
Mm-hmm.
We look at it and he said, couldn't do that with us.
Because of all the discipline and the regimen as the team?
Well, my attitude was we play another team, hope they are good.
Okay.
We don't hope for their bad. And the reason is, what makes a good team good is consistency.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yep, yep.
And so if they're consistent, you know they're predictable.
Yeah.
And Red was the type of coach who didn't have any gray area. It was black and white. You didn't have a chance to think about different things because this was his way of teaching and thinking and bringing the team together so that they have one common goal, and that was to win. But he was a guy who, didn't have long practices.
Really?
We'd practice 45 minutes. The people that he worked the hardest were the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th man, because he said at some point we're going to need one of these guys in a close game where we're sort of shorthanded due to injury
Right.
or foul trouble or whatever, and they have to be ready.
Wow.
He gave him carte blanche all the time off he wanted because he played 48 minutes a game.
Wow. Wow.
And he would not allow him to ruin himself in practice.
Wow.
Red used to say to me, we'd have 3 days off. I don't want to see you for 2 days. And I don't care what you do, don't tell me about it. So one day he decided, you're going to give me a hard practice, because I never practice hard. So I go out there and I fool around. He says, all you guys get out of the building. Just go home. Get away from me. So the next day he says, you son of a bitch, I'm going to fix you today. I got 6 cigars here, and we're not going to leave until you give me 20 minutes of hard practice. I said, okay. So when you start practice, I practiced like it was the 7th game of the playoffs.
Wow.
Ruined the practice. So he says, you are no good. You didn't have to practice that hard.
That's awesome.
He told me early in my career, he's going to play, I average 46 minutes a game.
Wow.
And he says, I'm not going to tell him where you are in practice and then expect you to play 46 minutes.
Wow.
And that's how we work together.
That's awesome.
I think, even today, he's the best coach in the history of professional sports. All of them.
Wow.
And one of the reasons they said Bill Jackson won more championship, but he did it with two teams,
Yeah, he
two
did.
different teams.
Yeah, he did.
Red did it. If you can get the same guys to go out and play hard for you 8 years in a row, people don't know how hard that is.
Yeah, no, that's impossible. Yeah, that's real hard.
And to say things to motivate you over an 8 years, the same guys.
Yeah.
And most of you say, well, I heard that before.
Right.
Well, he never let that happen. But I will tell you, playing with John that was something, that spot you didn't have to worry about. Because he's the most consistent player I played with.
Mm.
And one of the things he would do, for example, none of us come to the game every game ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could do that. And so What do you do the nights that you don't have it? Well, John would just run. His man would get tired, just follow him around. And you see, we all have a way of coping with the fact that your game doesn't show up every day.
Right. Right. That's awesome.
See, the thing is, if you're ready to play 48 minutes and you only play 24, you got to go twice as hard.
Yeah.
And the thing that I remember is people said, well, how did you like coming off the bench? Weren't you surprised or indifferent, or didn't you want to start? I said, I didn't care where I played, coming off the bench or starting or whatever. But Red always told me, it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes the game. And most of the time I was in at the finish of the game along with this guy.
And he didn't start, but he ended up playing more minutes than the guy he went in for.
Yeah, he was always number 1 in minutes, and I was number 2, and then when he left, I became number 1 in minutes played.
Wow.
So to play 46 minutes a game, when I hear about the travel schedule that they have, private jets, I mean, we flew coach for how many years?
Wow.
Every year.
Wow. Yeah.
Not only did we play coach, but there were a lot of days before full jet fleet.
Yeah.
Prop planes couldn't fly in fog.
Right. Right.
So we spent a lot of days at airports,
Wow.
standing around.
Wow.
I remember one conversation we had. We were standing around the airport, and a guy came up to me, said, "You're tall." "Oh, really? You a basketball player?" I said, "No." And about 4 guys came up and asked, "Are you a basketball player?" I said, "No." And John says to me, "How come you always say no unless you're a basketball player?" I said, "John, I'm not a basketball player. I'm a man that plays basketball."
Yep. Yeah. There you go.
Amen to that.
There you go. What do you do?
You know, flies go to sugar
Yeah. Is that what?
and shit.
All right. Well, maybe after this question, you'll find out.